the worm, dig through the ditches and burn through the witches and slam in the back of my Dracula.
Okay, so in this video I'm going to show you how to get that Rob Zombie sounding vocal effect that you hear in songs like Living Dead Girl and in this case Dragula. So right now I'd like to let you listen to a version of me singing the chorus of this song just through a standard SM58 going directly into the board with no effects. Here's the original dry recording.
Dig through the ditches and burn through the witches and slam in the back of my Dracula.
Okay, and then this will be what the finished product sounds like.
Dig through the ditches and burn through the witches and slam in the back of my Dracula. Dig through the ditches and burn through the witches and slam in the back of my Dracula.
All right, so to do this, I'm going to be using Cool Edit. Cool Edit Pro is an old discontinued software that was bought out by Adobe and turned into Adobe Audition. But it's been around long enough that everybody's pretty much heard of it and probably has a copy of it laying around somewhere. And it's just probably the most user-friendly piece of audio editing software out there. You can do all of this in Sonar, Cubase, Logic, basically whatever program that you're comfortable with. There are just a few techniques with each track that we're going to do. So basically I've imported that WAV file, the original dry WAV file, into Cool Edit, and I'm just going to throw it into the multi-track and bring it into editing mode, and I'm going to select this and copy it into a separate track. So I've selected it, copied it, and I'm going to paste a new. So now we have the original track and then an untitled track. The reason that I'm doing this is because we're going to be dealing with left and right stereo audio. So keep that in mind that you should probably be watching this in 720 HD so you can see this and hear it in stereo. So I've got the original dry file on track 1. I'm going to drag in the new one in track 2, and I'm going to pan one of these to the hard left and pan the other one to the hard right. And we're going to be doing most of our editing on this second track here. So right now, if we listen to it, there's not going to be any difference
through the ditches
because they're the same track, pan left and right. So let's go into track 2 and select it. And in effects, I'm going to be using the stretch module built into Cool Edit Pro. Most software applications have some type of pitch correction and pitch shifting module or plug-in built right in. In this setting, make sure you set the pitch shift, and we certainly want high precision. And on the stretch, 100 is an unchanged pitch, and we're just going to raise that up about 8 to 10 semitones, whatever that turns out to be, and apply that to that track. Okay, so now whenever we listen to these back to back,
dig through the ditches and burn through the witches.
It almost sounds like there's two tracks now because one's slightly higher than the other. But I'm going to go one step further, and I'm going to not only change the pitch, but also change the timing just a little bit. So let's listen to that.
Dig through the ditches and burn through.
Okay, so now it almost sounds like we have two separate vocal tracks there. So with that done, both of these done, I'm going to mix these down to one track and just get rid of these first two and drag this guy up top and recenter that. Okay, so double click on that and select it. We're going to copy it and paste it to its own track once again. And on this track, we are going to do what's known as an inverted average. Basically what that does is it first off splits the track into stereo 50%, and then it inverts one channel. So whenever you do that, it kind of gives you this almost underwater chorusy sound. Okay, so I'm going to take that and I'm just going to throw it right underneath this other track. And we'll go ahead and center this up for now. And back in editing mode, we're going to do this one more time. Paste it to new. So now we're on Untitled track number 3. And Cool that it has this cool little special effect called the brainwave synchronizer. basically what it does is it takes your straight voice and it makes you, gives it that real warbly kind of sound. You can achieve this with a chorus fairly easily. Just a wide delay and a pretty fast rate. Okay, so that's kind of what this sounds like.
Dig through the ditches and burn through the witches and slam.
Okay, so we're just going to throw that underneath these other two tracks. So this is what we have now.
Dig through the ditches and burn through the witches.
But if we have these all exactly in the same spot, they're going to overlap each other a little bit. So I'm going to dig in here kind of deep and separate these as far as timing goes just a little bit. All right, so this is what we have now.
Dig through the ditches and burn through the witches and slam in the back of my Dracula.
All right, so now that all the splicing and copying and pasting and moving and all that stuff's done, we're going to bounce all these down to one track, which will go down to track 4 now. Let's get rid of all these here. And you know, it probably wouldn't have been a bad idea to pan these out just a little bit before mixing them down, but that's okay. To do some finishing touches, I'm going to get rid of this and a little bit of the ending there. We're going to add a little delay. So under delay effects, click on delay. And the delay that I'm using is kind of a special delay that I use a lot. It's a stereo delay with the left channel set to 500 milliseconds and the right channel set to 250 milliseconds, which is twice the speed as the left channel. And then they both have a wet signal of about 5%, which is very subtle. So you can kind of hear that at the end. Just a real subtle delay. So the only thing left to do is that distorted part of the Dracula.
Dracula!
And to do that, what we'll basically be using is we're going to turn the EQ into like a low fidelity. And we'll do that inside filters and graphic equalizers. And you can see I've already done this. You're dropping everything from 250 hertz below and everything from 8 hertz below. Or I should say 5.6 kilohertz, 8 kilohertz. And just hit OK on that. So this is the effect that you'll get with that.
Dracula!
And then the last thing that we want to do is kind of distort that a little bit. Now, Cool Edit has some absolutely horrific distortion, which is a very bad thing. But I can make do. They've got this little distort bass preset, which is about the smoothest distortion that you could get out of Cool Edit, but it still sounds pretty ugly, which almost kind of fits what we're trying to do. So this is what that sounds like.
Dracula!
All right, so let's just go and take a listen to the original track one more time. This is what we had in the beginning.
Dig through the ditches and burn through the witches and slam in the back of my Dracula.
And this is what we have now.
Dig through the ditches and burn through the witches and slam in the back of my Dracula.
And that is it. That is how you achieve that Rob Zombie sounding doubler effect. And you can also use this for other applications as well. So I hope it's helped you. It's certainly helped me out coming up with some cool new modern effects. See you next time.